Hi guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my very first YouTube video. So this is the first full-length YouTube video that I wanted to make, and we're gonna do our channels, or my account, basically my account's mascot, which is a mini me. So we're gonna use this doll. This is Renee from the Barbie Dream Besties line. So this is a new Barbie line that Mattel came out to compete with Bratz, Rainbow High, and maybe even LOLOMG dolls. I mean, they have basically Mattel wanted to do like big-headed dolls, and the proportions are pretty similar to Monster High, but not quite. But I've always wanted to make a mini-me that could be in the same universe as Monster High dolls, but you know, human, a normie, something like that. But yeah, we're gonna use Renee as our base. I like that she is East Asian. I'm not really East Asian, I'm more Southeast Asian, but we do have the same complexity. I'm pretty fair. She's also pretty fair, and we have similar facial structures, I think. And also she's tall. I'm actually tall in real life. I'm like 5'7" and a half, and out of all of the Dream Besties dolls, she's like the tallest character. So she's pretty much a good representation of people like me who are, you know, just basically me. Anyway, we're gonna start off by saving her hair. I do have black hair, but Renee has saran hair, and usually with saran, they're much more harder to style with heat tools, and my hair is kind of curly and wavy, and it's not at all straight, so we're gonna try to cut all of these off and replace it with nylon later. So let's get on to it. I did tie her hair because I want to save it for, you know, another project. I mean, her hair is long enough to be reused again, so that's a good thing. Especially if you buy saran from sellers from shops, they're actually pretty expensive. They're much more expensive than nylon. So I think it's best that if you have a doll with really good hair and you want to use her for a project, I think it's best if you save the hair for possible future projects of yours. It's way harder to curl saran hair than nylon. So, and also I have sensory issues. I prefer the feeling of nylon compared to saran. I just don't like the waxy feel that saran has. So preferably I always choose nylon over saran. But when it comes to like styles, if the character has a straight hairstyle, I think saran works really well because it's just like really dense and heavy, that it lays like really well with straight hairstyles. So let's try, yeah, nylon is better if you want to do a character with curly hair or has some waves in it, and that's basically why I like nylon and why I'm using it for this doll, because I have curly hair. Yeah, I guess you can like tell that this is like my first time making a YouTube video. I really don't know what to say or what to talk about. I'm pretty bad at describing what I'm doing or giving like a step-by-step tutorial, because I sometimes stutter a lot and I forget the right words to use. I am fluent in English, but you know, it's not my first language. So I've already heated up some water. We're using a cup from a cup noodle, and I'm gonna put the hot water in here and just leave the head for like, I don't know, a few minutes, a few seconds. Oops, wait, it's not hot. What the fuck? Why is she not hot? Turns out it wasn't on when I had the water in, so I'm reheating it, and let's see. Let's just wait for it to heat up. Okay, so the water's hot now. Let's put her head in it for a couple of seconds, and then we'll pull it out. Okay, now we can easily, yeah, pull it out like that. Now to remove all of these here, like the stubbles from the inside, I'm just using a flat head screwdriver, and I'm just scraping everything off. It's actually pretty satisfying to do this, especially if they come out in like one go like that, as you saw. Okay, now to remove the hair from the inside, I'm just using long nose pliers, and I'm just taking out the hair like one by one. I decided to do this video because some of you have been asking me to do like a full-length YouTube video before, and I've always been partial to the idea because I don't really like doing voiceovers or talking about the custom while I'm working on it, because honestly I'm pretty bad with words, and like I said earlier in this video that I'm like really not good in making tutorials or, you know, describing what I'm doing. So basically I've been putting it off for a while, especially, you know, also the editing. I'm already dreading the time that I'll spend editing this video because I know it's gonna take so long, and yeah, it's gonna be like a full custom. So basically I need to capture every single thing that I'm doing to this doll. So yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, Nick, but yeah, shit like that. I'll say that like a few times while I'm doing this video because I'm honestly, I really don't know what to say. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, so it's time to remove her face. I'm just using this nail polish remover. It does have acetone in it, but if you have access to pure 100% acetone, go for that instead, because sometimes this just smears the paint and it's really hard to work with. I'm gonna try to look for pure acetone next time to use, but I'm gonna try to like use this up first before I do that. I'm just gonna use a cotton swab, and then we're gonna use a cotton pad later to like fully remove everything. Okay. See, this is what I meant by it just smears the paint around. So you do have to do this a couple of times to like completely like remove the factory paint, because yeah, it's just smearing everything around, and I hate that. Oh my god. So while I was removing her face, I realized that she has an open mouth sculpt, and that's a problem for me because I rarely open my mouth when I smile. So we're gonna try to cover that up with some air dry clay. This is cold porcelain clay, so it's basically very similar to oven baked clay, like polymer clay, because it turns really hard once it's like cured, once it's dried, but it also retains a certain amount of flexibility. So I think this would be really good for body modifications, but for now we're just gonna try to use it on her face. I'm just gonna dab a little bit of liquid fusion on her lips. This stuff is good for head cracks, to fix that, but it's also good for adhering this type of plastic to one another. So I've already added a little bit of the glue on this plastic, and we're gonna try to add that here just to help the clay like adhere better onto like the vinyl. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this clay, make a little snake, and then put it on her lips. Try to blend it in with my fingers. Let's add some more. By the way, I'm growing out my nails because I want to have like long, sharp nails, and it's a little hard to do sculpting work when you have long, pointy nails like these. So yeah, I should have done this project like a month ago when I still haven't thought of like having long nails. I'm just trying to smooth out the clay as much as possible to make it like blend better to her skin. It kind of still looks like she has an open mouth and it's bugging me. We're gonna try indenting like a line in the middle to give the illusion of lips. Let me see if that does anything for this doll. Okay, now it kind of just looks like teeth. Okay, that's pretty creepy and annoying. I don't know what to do with this. Why did Mattel have to give her an open mouth smile? That's like so freaking annoying. They could have just given her like a very demure, like closed mouth smile, like Barbie Malibu and Brooklyn. Those two Barbies have closed mouths, and they decided to give her an open mouth. Okay, so I saw someone slice the teeth out, and then they just use super glue to like press the two lips together to close your mouth. I'm gonna try to do that. This is my first time trying this out, so I'm really scared and nervous because what if I ruin her, right? I'm just gonna go for it. I don't think my cutter is sharp enough for this. I think I'm slicing through really well. Let me just... When you're doing this, please make sure that you're cutting against your finger, not like what I'm doing now. I'm bound to get hurt from doing this. It's best if you do this away from your finger. But if you're like dumb and stupid like me, yeah, don't be like me. Okay, I just took a sandpaper and I'm gonna try like sand her lips just so it's not too jaggedy. Okay, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know, did I ruin her? I'm not sure if I ruined her. I'm gonna try to do... Oh, okay. Okay, great. Now my super glue has hardened the cap, so I can't remove it. I'm gonna have to like pry it open. I'm gonna go ahead and add it on the lips, and we're gonna press it like that for a few minutes. Okay, so I decided to add more clay to cover up like the little gaps in between the teeth, just to fill it in. And I add more liquid fusion on top of that to make sure that everything is attached. By the way, I only have like, I don't know, 6 days to do this project. 5, I'm not sure. It's Monday and I have to finish this by Sunday. Okay, so while we wait for her head to like dry up, I'm gonna try to add some nail extensions to her hands, to her fingers. I pre-made these little nails here so I could just stick them on. I used the same air-dried clay for these nails, and then I made like tiny teardrop shapes, and then I let them dry. Yeah, this is how I do my doll nails. Some people use hot glue or plastic packaging and then they just paint over it, but I like to use these because I don't know, they look nice to me, and they're kind of like the same shape as my nails right now. So let me just start doing that. Let me show you how I do it. So I'm gonna use a needle tool like this. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up a nail here. I need it to be a little bigger, so let's do this one. Then let's just stick it on like so. This is a little tedious, so it's nice to have like a needle on the side to like help you like reposition it if it's not laying correctly. Onto the second finger. I'm trying to pick the sizes too to correspond to each finger. So if it's the pinky, it needs to be a lot smaller than the others. For the ring and the middle finger, we need it to be a little longer so they stand out. Okay, so here are the nails after. Yeah, I didn't show you the whole process of putting them on because it was pretty repetitive and it took a while because I needed to like adjust it a few times to get it to lay the right way. And I added like some more glue on the bottom of the nails to add more security. But yeah, that's basically it for the nails. Alright, we're moving on to voiceover for this part of the video. In this part, we're gonna start priming and prepping her face. I'm just using Pan Pastel in the shade Burnt Sienna Tint as like a makeup base. Think of this as like foundation for your dolls. This is the first layer, and I'm gonna seal it in with a matte varnish. I'm using the Bosny Flat Clear. I'm not sure if this is available in the States, but it is a good alternative for MSC. And as you can see, I did a second layer and I started sketching out the face in this part. The reason why I decided to make a mini me, a mini version of myself, is because I wanted to start this YouTube channel and I wanted a doll to represent me. Kind of like how Delightful has her own doll. We see it in every video that she makes. I wanted that for myself too, so I decided to make this doll. I'm in that point in my creative journey where my art has greatly improved, and it's pretty evident when you watch my older TikTok videos. Back then, I would just paint over the eyes so I wouldn't have to bother like removing the whole thing with acetone and drawing it from scratch, trying to make it symmetrical as possible. But nowadays, I am more comfortable and confident in my repainting skills. And of course, my newer repaints are not perfect. They're not symmetrical at all. It's really hard to perfect something if you're gonna do it by hand. So might as well just accept it for what it is and be proud of your work. In this part, I've already painted the whites in her eyes. And I'm starting to block out the colors of the iris. My eyes are naturally brown, but I am referencing a photo of me wearing dark brown doll contact lenses, so they're a little enlarged. But it's cutesy and I like it. And yeah, I want my doll to have the same doll eyes. In this part, I started outlining the eyes. Just doing the eyeliner and the eyelashes. I'm starting with brown to block it out, but as you can see, I started doing black to help it pop, and since I do wear fake lashes sometimes. This part is sped up like 20 times, but in reality when I was doing this, I was really taking it slow because lashes are really hard to draw, and I'm using acrylic, watered down acrylic paint, and I'm using a nail art brush that I did cut and trim to make sure that my lines are really fine and thin. I did make some mistakes here and there, but I was able to clean it up using a paint in the same color as your skin tone. In this part, I'm just adding more details into the iris, and my fat head is blocking the footage yet again. But you guys have to understand, when you're repainting, you really have to get in there to see the details and make sure that everything lines up correctly. Oh, I already added the eye shines. I added 2 whites on the top left. And in this part, I'm just cleaning up the edges, making sure that my lines are clean and sharp. Now I'm just doing the eyebrows. My eyebrows are actually really thick and bushy. But for my doll, I decided to do the same style as my other dolls, which is pretty thin and arched. But I still tried to make it a little straight because that's how my eyebrows are in real life. I just wanted her to fit in with my other dolls. But then again, this will be covered with bangs anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, now we're doing my favorite part, which is adding the freckles. I used to not like my freckles growing up because kids called it blackheads for some reason. I mean, it's by far different from blackheads, so kids are really weird. I grew to like them though. As they multiply while I aged, I saw how people turn it into like a makeup trend. They would literally draw it on their faces. I saw other people use henna too. And some even go to the extent of having it permanently tattooed on their faces. Like, man, that's so crazy. But then again, I go to like mine and I'm pretty lucky to have them. It adds a bit of uniqueness to my appearance and my character, since freckles isn't really a common trait for Filipinos or Southeast Asian people in general. Now I'm just doing the lips. I did decide to go for a more natural color here, but in the end I did decide to do an ombre instead, so it turned into a red going into a pinkish brown color to make it appear and look like a lip stain. I also decided to add some black lines on the sides of the mouth to emphasize her smile, and in this part I'm just cleaning up the lines with the same skin color paint. Now I'm just blushing her face with a peachy pink color. I'm also adding that onto the nose, and as you can see it came out too strong, so I'm using more pan pastel in burnt sienna tint to soften it. For eyeshadow I use a lot of oranges and pinks, so I'm doing the same thing for my doll here. I'm just building up the color, blending it really well into the skin. And that is it for the face-off. We're finally done. For finishing touches, I did paint the scalp black to prep her for the reroot. And I didn't get to film this, but I did spray her face with a final layer of MSC to completely seal it and protect the repaint. Now we are moving on to the reroot. Most customizers actually do the reroot first before the repaint, but I'm a little different and I like to take risk. Just kidding. This is just how I'm used to doing my customs. But of course, if you're gonna attempt to do your own custom, I suggest that you do the reroot first before the repaint. It's just that the repaint can crack when you do the reroot after. But I've done this so many times now and I haven't had a face crack before when I do my reroots. That's why I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing now. Of course, if you're gonna follow through this as a tutorial, just be careful and make sure that you are comfortable in what you're doing. This is what I'm comfortable in. Doesn't mean that you have to follow this process as well. But just to explain what I'm doing here, I'm actually doing the knot method. So as you can see, I wrap the hair in between my fingers. I pull it on the side. Then I take my rerooting tool and grab the hair. I then pull it like this, and then I plug it into the head. Just like that. I also use a needle tool to widen the hole first before I plug in a new hair, just like this. And then I grab another strand of hair, and I just repeat the process. Let me show it to you guys again before I speed this clip up. This is a good method if you don't want to use glue for your reroot, but I'm still gonna use glue after this reroot just to make sure that everything is secure. Of course, you can do the usual rerooting method, where you just grab a strand of hair and then you plug it in the head, and then you glue it afterwards. But this method just adds a layer of security to your reroots, and make sure there won't be any hair pulling in the future. I decided not to show you the whole process of me rerooting the head because it's pretty repetitive and self-explanatory, but I did save this part for last. I have bangs and I wanted to give my mini-me curly bangs similar to Always Brat's Yasmin and Creep Over Twyla. So for this part, I'm just doing the same method, just rerooting the bangs in the existing plugs in front. Made sure to braid the rest of the hair while I do this, just to make sure that they're separated from the bangs and they don't mix together. And I do this a couple of times until I feel like the hair is enough for the bangs. The hair is all done, and now we just need to glue it from the inside. For this, I'm using Uhu glue. I'm just using a generous amount, and then we're going to use a Q-tip to evenly distribute it from the inside. Off camera, I did a quick boil wash, And now we're gonna try to style her bangs. I bought this curling wand specifically for her bangs. I wasn't really sure how it was gonna go, so I decided not to cut her hair too much, just to test it out first. If you're gonna try to do this for yourself, make sure to mask your doll's face first to avoid getting it burned. This happened to me, luckily it wasn't too severe, but it did leave a mark. Just to be safe, use a masking tape or something to cover up her face while you do this. It was still too long, so I did trim it again. Basically, I'm just cutting as I go and checking to see every now and again if it's the right length. This is where it started to look like my bangs, so I'm really happy about that. Now we're on to curling the rest of the hair. I'm using a different curling wand for this. My hairstyling setup is not the best, I'm really sorry. I'm just on my bed while I'm doing this. She's not really secure. I just have my foot pressed down her leg so she wouldn't move around as much. But yeah, I'm trying to curl her hair from the back, just like this. Usually I have her in between my thighs while I do it, but just for the sake of this video, just so I have footage of me styling her hair, I'm doing it this way for now. But someday I'll try to get another tripod. I can mount the doll on it and style the hair that way. I think that's just much more easier. Unfortunately, her curls did not last. After a while, it did fall off, and I'm pretty annoyed. I'm currently on vacation now, so when I get back home, I'm gonna try to recurl her hair, but I'll probably use straws and boiling water instead. Since from my experience, that seems to be more permanent than using a heat tool. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll just upload some stories to update you guys on her hair situation. On this part, I'm just glossing up her lips. I am using a UV top coat meant for nails, but this actually works. I've done this before on my other dolls, and the results are so good. It's so shiny, and they last really long. I did this to my Melanie Martinez Portals dolls, and I have that doll for more than a year now, and it still looks good. I'm just letting it cure for 2 minutes, and now I'm doing her nails. I'm using actual nail polish for it. This is the same nail polish that I use on my nails. I did paint a base color of a pinkish brown on it before I added this glittery nail polish. For the clothes, I started doing the denim jacket. I'm just tracing this torso pattern on a denim fabric. The outfit I'm going for is actually an OOTD that I wore 2 years ago. I just really like how it looks and I really wanted to translate it into doll form. But I do plan to make more outfits for her in the future. For the sleeves, I don't really have a pattern for it. I just used her arm as a guide for how long I want it to be. And now I'm just cutting off the pieces. I didn't get to film it, but I did fray check all these fabric pieces because this type of denim does fray a lot. For this, you can use an actual fray checker. But I'm just using white glue because that's all I have right now. I'm not gonna sew everything on camera because it's gonna take a while and I plan on doing all of this by hand. But here I've already started doing the dress. I'm just stitching the straps. For the top part, I did a very simple tube and I gathered the middle to give it a sweetheart neckline. And this is me trying it on the doll. It looks really good. I was determined to do this all by hand, but it was taking so long, so I decided to do the skirt part on my machine. I just saw the two pieces together, and it's all done. For the closure at the back, I just used snaps, and now I'm just trying it on the doll. For the stockings, I'm actually using Draculaura's Core Refresh stockings, and I made her black underwear and maroon sock. And look at that, it's done. I love the little ruffles at the end. Okay, so at this point, I realized that I did not like the Barbie Dream Bestie's body. It is decently articulated, but it feels a little limited. If this is gonna be my mini-me doll and she's gonna represent me, she needs to have full mobility. So I scoured the internet for this particular Made to Move doll, since it has very similar proportions to Renee's body. Luckily, I found her for a decent price. The seller was just living a little farther away from me, so I had to pay a lot for the shipping fee. It was same-day delivery, so I got it instantly. I basically ordered her in the morning, and then she arrived in the afternoon. This is her next to Renee's body. Her hands and feet are just a little smaller, but that's okay. I did redo her nails and her socks. I made her socks thicker so rainbow high shoes can still fit her. But yeah, in this part I'm just doing the head swap. I did struggle a bit getting her head on the body. This is what she looks like, and oh my god, she looks so much better. Moving on to the jacket, I've already finished it, and I fully hand sewn this, but it was missing something. I have this heat transfer Monster High logo. I decided to add on the back. I'm just using my mini hair straightener, and I use a piece of paper so it wouldn't be too hot and melt the plastic. Once it's all cooled down, you can just remove the plastic. And now the logo is finally on the jacket. I wished it was bigger though, but it will get covered up by the hair anyway. And that's it for the outfit. Let's see it on the doll. And she's finally done. I am so proud of this doll. I can't believe that I was able to finish her within a week. I was definitely cramming while I was working on her. I had a set timeline for this doll because after a week I need to fly over to a different city to spend the holidays with my family. Luckily, this custom isn't too complex. It's just the usual repaint, reroot, and outfit making, so it wasn't really a hard doll to make. Now I have two mini-me dolls. This is my Nendoroid doll mini-me that I created 3 years ago, I think. She has a Nendoroid head and a YMY body. I also made the outfit myself, and it's nice to finally have them here side by side. I want to take this moment to say thank you to my followers, my mutuals, and my friends within the doll customizing community. Within the past year, I've received nothing but overwhelming support from people online, people I don't even know, and I really appreciate it. Sometimes I don't even know what to say because it's really that overwhelming. I hope you guys can continue to support me in this new chapter in my doll customizing journey. I do plan to create more long-form content here on YouTube soon. And like I said, I wanted this doll to be the first video that I share with you guys. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone. I also want to wish you guys a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys again next year. Bye bye.